You will be astonished by how this remarkable tale commences with our heroine Jo March, already a grown woman residing in New York City. Her purpose is to market her narratives, and we witness her in a meeting with a publisher, the exceptionally strict Mr. Dashwood. This is a truly brilliant method to present her, revealing her ambition from the outset. Next, the film executes a masterful leap into the past, presenting the March sisters in their youth. We are introduced to the quartet on Christmas morning: pensive Meg, spirited Jo, creative Amy, and the wonderfully gentle Beth. Their adored mother, Marmee, requests they perform an act of immense charity and offer their Christmas breakfast to the famished Hummel family. It is a profoundly touching demonstration of their nature, and they consent without a moment's delay. From his splendid manor next door, the charming and solitary Laurie Lawrence observes their compassionate deed and is instantly enthralled. Upon arriving home, the sisters uncover a marvelous surprise awaiting them. The Lawrence family has provided an even more impressive banquet as a prize for their incredible selflessness. This marks the lovely beginning of a friendship destined to alter their lives eternally. Subsequently, Meg and Jo receive an invitation to an elegant party, a truly sensational social gathering. Jo, ever authentic, feels entirely uncomfortable and finds a kindred soul in Laurie. Concluding the party is too superficial, they instead share an enchanting dance alone on the veranda. It is a flawless, captivating moment that illustrates their instant bond. The evening concludes when unfortunate Meg twists her ankle and the perpetually dashing Laurie escorts them home in his carriage. Jo also has the intriguing responsibility of reading to her affluent and exceptionally demanding Aunt March. Aunt March is a formidable figure, relentlessly attempting to shape Jo into a suitable high society woman. She even presents the wonderfully tempting prospect of accompanying her on a journey to Europe. Concurrently, the March family's bond with the Lawrences strengthens and becomes more significant with each passing day. The benevolent Mr. Lawrence senses a unique, poignant connection to the profoundly timid Beth. She brings to mind his own departed daughter, a detail that is immensely sorrowful. He performs the most moving gesture, making his exquisite piano accessible for her to play whenever she desires. And you must witness it. She plays with a stunning grace that is beyond imagination. One night, a truly theatrical event transpires when Amy pleads to attend the theater with Jo and Laurie. Jo is exceedingly curt and refuses her, which was certainly not her finest hour. For retribution, an enraged Amy perpetrates an unpardonable act and incinerates the manuscript Jo has been dedicating her soul to. Jo's desolation is complete and utter. It is among the most gut-wrenching sights one could ever witness. She is so justifiably irate that she pledges never to pardon Amy, regardless of how much Amy expresses remorse. The following day, Jo and Laurie go ice skating, and a frantic Amy trails them, attempting to atone. In her fury, Jo heartlessly disregards Amy and neglects to caution her about the perilously thin ice. Abruptly, the most horrifying event occurs, and Amy plummets through the ice into the frigid water. It is a moment of sheer breathtaking panic that will leave you utterly captivated. Instinctively, Joe and Laurie extract her from the water, saving her life in a stunning rescue. Confronted with nearly losing her, Joe at last releases her resentment and emotionally pardons her younger sister. In another compelling subplot, Meg attends a debutante ball and becomes absorbed by high society allure. She dons a borrowed opulent gown and attempts to blend in with the affluent assembly. Laurie observes this and confronts her, reproaching her for feigning to be someone else, which deeply wounds her feelings. He feels dreadful about it afterward and offers her the most heartfelt apology. The sisters also have a magnificent secret club, and they elect to invite Laurie as their inaugural member. Meanwhile, a lovely romance starts to develop between the eldest sister Meg and Laurie's tutor, the gentle Mr. John Brooke. Joe is vehemently opposed because John is not wealthy, but Meg cannot deny her heart. In a moment of pure charm, Beth crafts a pair of slippers for Mr. Lawrence as a gift of thanks. He is so profoundly touched by her thoughtfulness that he gives her a truly phenomenal gift in response. He presents Beth with her very own splendid piano, and it is a scene of such pure, unbridled delight. Then the family gets the most alarming news that their father has become sick while serving in the war. Marmee must depart at once to nurse him, and the family requires money for her travels. In an act of profound sacrifice and devotion, Jo parts with her magnificent long hair to acquire the funds. It is a genuinely shocking and potent moment that reveals the depth of her dedication to her family. While Marmee is gone, the girls are supposed to check on the impoverished Hummel family, but they neglect to do so. The ever-dutiful Beth goes alone and tragically contracts scarlet fever from them. Because she lacks immunity, young Amy is sent to reside with Aunt March for her own protection. This is a critical point for Amy, as Aunt March informs her that she must wed a wealthy man to secure their family's future. When Beth's health deteriorates, the girls dispatch an urgent plea for Marmee to come home. Marmee returns just in time and lovingly nurses Beth back to health. Their family is at last reunited on Christmas when John Brooke appears with the most fantastic surprise of all. He has escorted their father home from the war, and it is a scene of complete flawless bliss. Sometime later, Meg and John are finally wed in a modest yet gorgeous ceremony. Aunt March, though disapproving of the union, generously finances the entire wedding. In a truly startling twist, Aunt March then chooses to take Amy to Europe with her instead of Jo. Jo is utterly devastated, as this was her lifelong ambition, and you can perceive her immense letdown. To make the situation even more charged, Laurie selects this moment to declare his eternal love for Jo. He proposes marriage, and it is the most fervent, impassioned declaration imaginable. But Jo, in a staggering and exceptionally hard decision, rejects him. She explains that she does not love him in that manner and that they would only come to resent each other. It is an utterly calamitous scene for them both, and Laurie is left completely shattered. Seeking a fresh start, Jo makes the courageous move to New York City to work as a governess. She persists in writing, selling a few of her sensational tales to the cantankerous Mr. Dashwood. It is there she encounters the captivating Professor Friedrich Baer, a fellow lodger. He is a wise and compassionate man who recognizes her extraordinary talent as a writer. However, when he offers some honest critical notes on her work, her pride is injured and she angrily spurns his counsel. Across the ocean in France, Amy is perfecting her talents as a painter and encounters Laurie. It is a startling reunion because Laurie has become a dissipated, aimless wreck, still grieving over Joe. He arrives at one of Amy's gatherings completely inebriated and creates a mortifying scene. He even derides the gentleman who is courting Amy, causing her deep embarrassment. Later, a sobered Laurie apologizes and impulsively suggests that he ought to marry her instead. Amy delivers the most commanding speech, informing him she will not be his secondary choice after Joe, particularly when she has always adored him. It is a truly legendary moment of self-worth that leaves him utterly flabbergasted. Back home, Meg and John are now wed with children and facing financial difficulties. Meg feels insecure and impulsively purchases an expensive silk for a new gown. John feels like a disappointment for being unable to give her the life he believes she is owed. But in a genuinely lovely moment, Meg confesses she has already sold the material, and they reaffirm their exceptional love for one another. Then, Joe gets the most dreadful news conceivable. Beth is critically ill again, and this time it is far more serious. Joe immediately hurries home from New York to be at her sister's side. She brings Beth to the seaside, and in an absolutely soul-shattering scene, Beth tells Joe she knows she is fading. Joe desperately refutes it, but Beth is tranquil and accepting of her destiny. Beth's final desire is for Joe to compose a story for her, a last request from her cherished sister. Heartbreakingly dear, sweet Beth succumbs to her illness and passes on, leaving the entire family devastated by sorrow. It is the most deeply sorrowful and shattering moment in the whole narrative. In her sadness, Jo admits to Marmee that she feels dreadfully alone and questions if she erred with Laurie. Marmee, with her endless wisdom, asks if she is genuinely in love with him, and Jo's reply confirms she is not. Still, in a moment of acute loneliness, Jo pens a letter to Laurie and places it in their secret postbox. Just as she does this, Amy comes back from Europe, and she is not by herself. She has accompanied Laurie, and they reveal the most stunning news. They are now husband and wife. Jo is visibly shocked, but quickly composes herself and conceals her letter, congratulating them with remarkable grace. It is a testament to her astonishing strength of spirit. Grief-stricken, Mr. Lawrence can't even muster the courage to enter the March house with Beth gone. Jo extends him solace, initiating a new, wonderful friendship between them. Propelled by her grief and her memories, Jo experiences a moment of sheer inspiration. She collects the narrative she wrote for Beth and begins to write with a fervent intensity night after night. She invests her entire being into crafting a book based on her own life and her sister's. She dispatches the finished chapters to Mr. Dashwood, who at first shrugs it off as a tiresome domestic tale. This is where events become truly marvelous because Mr. Dashwood's own daughters discover the manuscript. They become completely captivated by the story and implore their father to reveal what happens next to the sisters. Their excitement is so contagious that he is compelled to reassess his judgment entirely. Simultaneously, Professor Bear makes an unexpected visit to Massachusetts, alleging he was simply in the vicinity. It is so apparent that he has journeyed all this way just to see Joe once more. He dines with the March family, and everyone observes the wonderful, palpable connection between him and Joe. Friedrich then shares he has a job prospect in California and will likely depart as nothing holds him here. The instant he leaves, the entire family bursts out, insisting Joe must absolutely pursue him. In the most exhilarating and romantic sequence, Meg and Amy hustle Joe into a carriage to chase Friedrich down in the drenching rain. But then the film cuts away to Joe in a conference with Mr. Dashwood, and you will not fathom what occurs. He informs her the book is excellent, but she must alter the conclusion so the protagonist gets married. Joe contends that her heroine never desired marriage, but he maintains that books with unwed heroines do not sell. Then Joe executes the most ingenious move I have ever witnessed. She consents to the married ending, but then negotiates with him like an expert. She contends for a greater percentage of the earnings, and crucially, she insists on retaining the copyright to her own creation. It is a truly iconic moment of a female creator seizing control of her own financial future. The movie then presents the fictional, romantic conclusion she composed. Joe successfully intercepts Friedrich before he departs, and they share a marvelous rain-drenched kiss. We then learn that the formidable Aunt March has passed on and bequeathed her entire estate to Joe. Joe, with Friedrich at her side, converts the mansion into a fantastic coeducational school. The final frame of this ending displays the entire expanded March family celebrating Marmie's birthday together, ecstatically happy. But that is not the actual finale, because the most powerful and fulfilling final scene is still to arrive. We observe Jo standing in the printing house watching her novel being bound. She at last holds a completed copy of her book titled Little Women in her hands. It is the ultimate success, a beautiful and profoundly personal accomplishment that is exclusively hers.